Yes, I'm James Cowley. I'm Salford Lead Deanery Chair, and we're at Christ Church Pennington. This is where I worship. So in my day job, I work for the National Health Service, so I'm an analyst, I do statistics. It's looking at all different metrics, so like how many hours people wait in A&E to how long the waiting lists are. I graduated during the credit crunch, so I wanted to work for a bank, but ended up in the National Health Service. So when I came back to Christ Church Pennington after university, and I came back with my wife, just before we married actually, incumbent at the time, Canon Tony Butterworth, thought, oh yeah, he'd be good on the PCC, you know. So I joined the PCC, and then a few years later, he kind of invited me round to the vicarage and said, how do you fancy being a warden? And I was like, what's a warden do, you know? I was in my late 20s, I didn't even know what the role entailed. But a bit of prayer time and a bit of understanding and conversations, I became one of his wardens, and that's where a lot of my understanding of the church came from. And as he retired, I became lay chair of the PCC. So understanding that lay community has been a fantastic learning learning curve, as it were. So one of the things that I did when I became on the PCC, I went straight onto the finance committee. So I've used those analytical skills and knowledge to work with the treasurer and make sure that we're solvent as a church. The skills that I use as lay chair are skills that I've developed over the lay roles at this church. So as PCC member, church warden and lay chair of the PCC, I've developed an understanding of people, so bringing people together, and that's why I really went for the lay chair role, is to work with people with different views, different churchmanship, and kind of get a common thread together. And what I would say to people that are sitting in the pews is talk to your leadership at church. I'm sure there's lots of jobs that they can support you in, and they can always put people alongside you so you don't feel on your own in those jobs. It's all learning, and there's lots of support along the way. That's the key thing. Just take a step of faith, as it were.
Okay, I'm Kath Pollard. I've lived in Bury all my life, and I worship at Bury Parish Church. I was global administrator for a manufacturing consultancy. I think, firstly, I was on the PCC here, and then I became a member of what we used to call the worship committee, which then got sort of amalgamated into what we now call the congregation committee, of which I'm chair. Because I was on the PCC, they asked me if I would go on to Deanery Synod, which I said, yeah, that's fine. And I was asked if I would be secretary, which obviously with my administration skills, organisation skills, I said, yeah, that's fine. And then when the current lay chair was retiring, he said, do you want to take over? And yeah, then we went into lockdown, so I just feel like I'm getting going with that role now. Part of my role is to co-chair Deanery Synod meetings with the area dean. And obviously, congregation committee, I'm chair of that. That's done over Zoom, so that brings different skills to having a meeting face to face. And I just think, you know, the organisation and the administrative skills that I learnt have been useful in these roles. It means that I can take an active role in what is happening in the church, what sort of worship we do, what sort of improvements we can make. Deanery Synod, we're now it's Bury and Rossendale, so we have churches from Salford all the way up to Rossendale, and it's quite a lot of churches. It means that I get to meet different people from different churches, different styles of worship, and we get to find out what's happening in their church, which means that you know, if there's something that we like that somebody else is doing, maybe we can implement it here. And it's just nice to meet people of faith, and for me, the more I get involved, the more my faith and my spirituality grows. What we need are younger people who have different ideas of how to make it grow, make the church grow, get more people involved. It's a community. You have friends. I've got great friends here, friends in the deanery, and I just think people should get involved.